Week 1 of the fantasy baseball season. Here's a few pitchers I look to buy and trade for this week. The first pitcher, Roki Sasaki of the Los Angeles Dodgers. I know it's a little early in the season to go out there and try to make deals, but this is the time where it can help fantasy owners getting someone on a discount where they're struggling, help their team pay dividends down the line. So on the season for Sasaki, it's definitely been a struggle where he's been one of the more hyped Japanese pitchers to come over to the major leagues. Sasaki in a long time, and his first two outings, no doubt about it, have been a train wreck. On the year, 4 2/3, 0-0 record, 5 Ks, a 5.79 ERA, and a 2.79 WHIP. So control's been an issue for Sasaki, maybe a little bit of nerves as well. It's been for Sasaki with his new team in the Los Angeles Dodgers, where he was going out there and he was throwing gems in the KBO over the last couple seasons, and he was a Cy Young candidate yearly as the young Sasaki. So now with his countrymen in Los Angeles, like I said, he's off to a slow start, but I believe he's going to pick things up, get things going. We saw it last season, Yamamoto, he got off to a slow start, then he started turning the corner a little bit, and now this season so far, Yamamoto's off to a good start. So the first two outings for Sasaki, March 19th at the Cubs in Japan, 3 innings in that one, a hit, a run, 5 walks, 3 Ks, no decision. March 29th versus the Tigers, 1 2/3 in that ball game, 3 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 2 Ks, and then no decision once again. So this Dodger team, the best team in the major leagues, obviously. They're going to win easily over 100 games. And I think Roki Sasaki, as the year goes on, he's going to get more comfortable. He's going to go deeper into games. Like I said, control's been an issue the first 2 outings, 9 walks for Sasaki. But once he's under control and he pitches in his game and gets confidence, because you know the run support's going to be there, I think he's going to help this Dodger team in a big way and help fantasy owners in a big way. So right now, while he's struggling and trying to find himself, he's definitely a pitcher I will go out there and buy this week. The next pitcher, Bailey Ober of the Minnesota Twins. So this Minnesota Twin team off to a horrible start, one of the worst teams in the league in the early going in the first week of the season is Minnesota. And Bailey Ober last season, he had a great year, 178 2/3, 12-9 record, 191 Ks at 3.98 ERA and 18 quality starts. But so far this season, 2 2/3, 0-1 record, 3 Ks, a 27 ERA, a 4.13 WHIP. So he's a great buy low candidate after he got bombed in his first outing as Bailey Ober. And I know this Minnesota Twin team, it could be a long and tough season for them. No doubt about it, 1-4 in the season. But I think Ober, he was a good pitcher last season, and it was only one outing, and I believe he could bounce back in his next one. So March 30th in his first outing of the year, 2 2/3 at the Cardinals, got the loss, 8 hits, 8 runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks in that ball game for Ober. So definitely was batting practice, definitely got hit around all over the yard. But like I said, sometimes these pitchers, first couple outings, they go out there and can't get anything going. But I believe Bailey Ober could turn things around. And let's be honest, this AL Central isn't a great division. The White Sox, I know they improved a little bit from last season. Can't get any worse than that. The Guardians, I know they made the playoffs, so did the Tigers and Royals. But those offenses aren't great, and for the most part, pitching carried those teams into the postseason last year. So Bailey Ober had a good season last year, and I believe this year he could have a good year once again. So right now, after he got hit like a piñata in his first outing, he's definitely a buy low pitcher this week. The next pitcher, Walker Buehler of the Boston Red Sox. Buehler, he was a hero in the postseason last year, helping the Dodgers win the World Series, either as a starter, coming in relief, closing out ball games. And in his first outing as a Boston Red Sox player, he got hit around 4 1/3 in that one, got the loss, 3 Ks, an 8.31 ERA, a 1.62 WHIP in that ball game. So the control was an issue for Walker Buehler. Last season, he was injured majority of the season. But like I said, when the lights came on and the big playoff games obviously were going on, he came through and pitched well with Walker Buehler. So like I said, he's got to get acclimated with this Red Sox team. They're obviously off to a slow start. Is Boston 1-4 in the year. And that first outing wasn't good at a good Texas Rangers offense. 4 1/3 got the loss. 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 Ks in that ball game. So like I said, I think he's going to bounce back as Buehler. His next outings at the Baltimore Orioles. And he's got nasty stuff, no doubt about it, is Walker Buehler. Just staying healthy and finding the strike zone and not being erratic and missing the strike zone and walking the ballpark has been a problem for him. So right now, after coming off a short and a bad outing, I still would have confidence to go out there and try to make a deal for Buehler or even add him off the waiver wire, where surprisingly he's available in 41% of fantasy leagues. Next pitcher is Zach Gallen of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Zach Gallen, he's been a good pitcher over the last couple of years for this Diamondback team. His next outing's here tonight, one of the better offenses in the league at the New York Yankees. And Gallen, he got off to a slow start in his first outing of the year. Numbers on the year: 4 innings, 0-1 record, 4 Ks, a 9 ERA, and a 2 whip for Zach Gallen. It's a contract season as well, where he's going to get big money in the offseason, where if he just goes out there, stays healthy, and can pitch well, Gallen, he's going to get that big contract. So March 27th versus the Cubs, like I said, 4 innings, got the loss, 4 hits, 4 runs, 4 walks, 4 Ks. So the walks obviously haven't been a problem for him over the last few seasons, and it was uncharacteristic of Gallen to go out there versus a Cub team and walk the ballpark. And like I said, obviously tonight a very tough matchup at the New York Yankees, one of the best hitting teams in the league, even after losing Juan Soto in free agency. But Gallen, we know he's a good pitcher. We know he always goes out there with a plan. He knows how to hit the zone, knows how to get easy outs at times. And tonight, if he does get hit around by this Yankee team, his stock will even drop even more and be even a better buy low candidate. But right now, I would send some feelers out there to get Gallen on the roster, because I believe he can help fantasy owners right now. And the fifth and final pitcher I look to buy and trade for is Kumar Rocker of the Texas Rangers. So Rocker, he made the rotation out of spring training, a little bit surprisingly for Rocker. And he's also out there in 54% of fantasy leagues if you want to get him off the wire. So last season, had a cup of coffee in the majors, 11 2/3, 0-2 record, 14 Ks, at 3.86 ERA, a 1.54 whip. But in his first outing of the season versus the Reds, he got lit up in that one. 3 innings, got the loss, 3 Ks. Ended up with an 18 ERA and a 3 whip. But like I said, Kumar Rocker, one of the top prospects in Major League Baseball last season, and a high draft pick, obviously, was Kumar Rocker as well from this Texas Ranger team. And they're dealing with injuries in the rotation, where Rocker at least is going to get a couple more chances through, I believe. So like I said, at the Reds, he got hit bad in that ball game. 3 innings, got the loss, 7 hits, 6 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks in that one. So it was a bad outing versus a pretty decent Red offense. But Elly De La Cruz, let's be honest, carried him in that ball game, where he went 4 for 5 with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs, where Rocker was batting practice. So like I said, Rocker, he can't get any worse than he was in that one in Cincinnati. And I think he's going to bounce back and pitch well in his next outing. So right now, after coming off a bad outing, has a lot of potential. And like I said, one of the top prospects in Major League Baseball and draft pick over the last couple seasons. Rocker's definitely a buy low pitcher this week. So that's a few pitchers I look to buy and trade for week 1 of the fantasy baseball season.